Hello, you lovely lot. How are you? I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. None whatsoever. I had every plans of getting in the shower, having a shave, and making myself look handsome for you all, and I failed miserably just because of being so busy. Okay, let's see who is at top of the shop. Jeanette, you must be waiting for so long. So Jeanette is top of the shop. Hi, Jeanette. Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you in Somerset. Heather Swithenbank. Hi, everyone. Glad to make a live. Hi, Heather. Good to see you. There's Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Ulrika. Bonjour. There's Therese. Hi, Therese. Good to see you again. And Michelle Mannery. Howdy all. Michelle Seitz. Hello. Sorry, have been so busy year-end stuff. Oh, my wife knows all about year-end stuff. She used to do accountancy type work. Share and like. Oh, yes. You lot are so good to me. Please like and share and do whatever you need to on YouTube. Subscribe and all that jazz. Thank you. It's not just me this evening. Apparently, there is a threat of Lindsay joining me very shortly. Now, you're going to have to give her some energy because she's got a cold. She's feeling a bit fluey. I think she caught it on the plane trip home. She's a bit knackered and a little bit jet lagged too. And talking of jet lag, just in case you thought that we didn't travel around the world enough, there's been an added date for a workshop in Ocala, Florida at the end of October. So I'm sure Lindsay will tell you all about that when she joins us. So there's very limited time because I think it's only 6 weeks away. So the places have to be booked for it to happen. So don't let it go to chance. Book your place. Gail Drench. Hello all. This is my happy place. It's my happy place too, albeit it's at 9 o'clock at night, and with a busy day, I'm not always firing on all cylinders. Perhaps I ought to start doing them at midday, but then nobody would join me. Hope everyone and their horses is doing well. Indeed, we hope so too. Well, if they're in the Phoenix group, they're more likely to be having better chances with their horses than perhaps outside. That's for sure. Hi, Anne. Hello from Comox, Canada. Still buzzing from the Ontario 3-day workshop. Kudos to Lindsay, Asher, Georgia, and the whole team. Thank you very much. I should take all of the credit by sitting on my arse and keeping everything going at home. For making it around the world to help us all. But I have to say, I did really enjoy my visit to the US. I'm sorry that I didn't quite make it to Canada. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Hi, Ellen from Tennessee. Hi, Kay. Here's Dawn. Hello, Phoenix family from Wales. Hi, Misha. Hello from Germany. Oh, we're going around the world today. Hi, Malin. Good to see you. And Angie Medler. Hi, Angie. Garry, you didn't start at the top. Did I miss someone? Yeah, I did. I did start at the top, and it was you. Did you miss me? Now, that's cheating. If you're going to be there that early, you've got to be there waiting for me to start it. It was definitely you at the top of the shop. If you missed it, well, that's your lookout. There we go. Megan Triggs. Hi, everyone. Yeah, you see, you just went into comment and thought you'd get top of the shop. It don't work like that. See, you just told everybody that you can actually just go in, log in, get top of the shop spot, and then not even be listening. What's all that about? For 45, 50 minutes before we start. I'm only joking, Jeanette. Carrie, hello from Calgary, Canada. Hi, Carrie. And Michelle, okay, duty calls. I will come back on. Fantastic. Let's have a look. I was waiting. Must have been my Wi-Fi. Oh, that old excuse. I'm pulling your leg, Jeanette. I'm pulling your leg. Okay, what we're going to talk about. So what's happened over the weekend? Oh my goodness. I put in a dead hedge. Absolutely nothing to do with horses. The horses were fine. Lindsay, Asher and Georgia were on their way home and I needed to put a hedge in. Do you want to see it? This is going to be very boring for some people, but I wanted to create a dead hedge. So we had loads of wood that was left over from some trees that we had to chop down because they were just enormous and taking up loads of light. And we want to make space to put more in. That's the point. And we had this idea, or should I say, it's the royal we. My wife had this idea, and we used all of the wood. So this didn't actually cost us anything apart from putting the stakes in the ground with an auger, which I have to say wasn't easy. But then the rest was. And let me share my screen, and then you'll see the almost finished article. Let's go window. There you go. So there's me, and I wonder if you can see what I'm doing on the screen. Yes, you can. So all of these posts were straight posts from a nut tree that we chopped down. So anything that was straight and wide enough to be a post, everything else was just left long. So some of these branches here are about 10 foot long, down to little twigs. So anything in between. And we just laid them on top of each other so they intertwined. And that's what I was doing this weekend. And in an attempt for my dogs not to get out. But they still do. Or one of them does. But I have no idea where he's getting out from. So back to the drawing board. But he's definitely not getting out this way. So that's what I've been doing. Right, let me stop sharing a minute. Okay, let's go back to comments. Have you got questions for me? Oh, here comes Lindsay. She's going to tell you all about what she's been doing. You've been listening to me?
Yeah, I was listening.
She's knackered. She's put a bit of slap on to make herself look a bit more human. I'm sorry, I'm being naughty.
Yes, yeah. I'm oh, there goes Timmy. I don't know whether the slap hasn't really refreshed me per se, but I'm here and I've come to say hi. Were you showing them your hedge then, Garry?
I was, yes. I'm very proud of my hedge.
It's very good. It's very, very good. I do apologise if I sneeze most of the way through. I can feel one bubbling up at the moment, but hey, who cares?
What's a bit of snot between friends?
When you come on stage, you forget all your ailments.
Yes. Showtime.
Showtime. So did you mention, Garry, that, and we'll mention it a few times, we have not got long, have we, to fill up the Ocala, Florida workshop?
I've already mentioned it. So there's less than 6 weeks. And for it to happen, we need to have the numbers way before that.
Yeah, we do.
because otherwise the flights can't be booked or anything like that. So we're taking a punt. We're taking a punt. We've got a venue sorted out. We've got legs sorted out, but now we need the numbers.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of time.
And I'll be honest,
not a lot of time.
Courtney, dear Courtney Crane. Some of you may know who Courtney Crane is. Courtney Crane is Linda Pirelli's protege, and I've been helping Courtney, Asher, and I over the last few weeks. And it's Courtney and her trimmer friend Jane, who are desperately wanting us to put this workshop on, so have gone all out to do it. So if you're into natural horsemanship and you'd like to meet Courtney, well, she'll be there. So she's going to be coming and learning as well, because when it boils down to it, it doesn't matter who you are or what you are, you need to learn about hooves. So that'll be good. And then while we're there, we'll be popping back to Linda Pirelli's ranch and checking on some of their horses and helping Courtney trim a little bit more. So it's all very exciting, and it's going to be a whistle stop trip. Yeah, not a tour, because we're going to do it in a week. If I feel this bad coming back, God knows what that'll be like when I come back again from there. I don't know. I'm going to sneeze. But yeah, so it's going to be fun. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I've got cold. Yes. So we're very excited about that. And of course, before that, we've got Froome, which is full up. I don't think we can take anybody else, can we, in Froome?
Well, I mean, we haven't closed it yet, because as soon as we close it, there's always someone that wants another space.
It's got way over what we expected.
I've had a chat with the lovely Sarah at New Moon, and I said, well, if there is any last minute stragglers, I know we've gone over numbers just a little bit. Can we just section off a little bit more that the horses can't have just for 8 hours in a day? Would that be okay? And she said, yeah.
It's going to be a big one.
It's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be almost on a par with Galsworth. Almost on a par with Galsworth. It won't be quite as big. But it's going to be impressive.
Yeah. So we've got Froome. That's coming up soon. It's not very many weeks away, is it? 3 weeks away?
No, that's the 19th to the 21st of September.
So just over 2 weeks away. And then we've got... then we're going away, aren't we? On a special holiday.
We're going on a special holiday.
With our admins. We're taking our admins away on holiday for a few days to thank them for being such incredible human beings and keeping the Phoenix page going. So we're taking those away for a few days, which is going to be fun. Riotous, no doubt.
It's going to be riotous. I think there's going to be a bit like a workshop. I think there's going to be lots of laughter. There's going to be lots of crying, along with lots of laughter. I'm assuming, because I should take all the credit, but I can't. But because Lindsay can be quite funny, you know, she can. Honest. and I have to say, Timmy's not bad either.
No, he is quite funny. He does make me laugh.
He is quite funny.
He is music. Yeah, so we're off to Portugal, aren't we, for a week, and then, which would be lovely, the Algarve.
But before that, very importantly, Lindsay gets home from America, and then she ends up having 4 days, and then Garry and Rachel bugger off, and Lindsay and Tim end up having to look after all my lot. So 3 dogs, chickens, cats, and all of that as well, because it's mine and Rachel's 25th wedding anniversary. And we're going back to where we had our honeymoon, which is in Lindos in Rhodes. Yeah. So in the rare chance that there are any Phoenix Warriors in
Inroads.
Rhodes or in around
Please.
Lindos and fancy meeting up for a drink, we're only there for a week. Bring it on.
No, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? They're
It would,
everywhere.
wouldn't it?
They are everywhere. Phoenix Warriors are everywhere.
I haven't come across anybody knowingly in Rhodes or well, it wouldn't be in Lindos because it's very touristy. But yes, it would be. It would be
we'll
nice.
see. We'll see. You never know.
And then I'm back only for 2 days in France, and then we're off. We're off to Froome to New Moon.
You mean New Moon track livery? Yeah.
Then we're back for 2 weeks. Then we're off for a week, and then you're probably only back for a week, and then you're off to Akala. That's something like that, isn't it?
Yes, not even a week, I don't think, and then off to Akala. It's nice to see you, Lindsay. You too, Garry, but you've been back a while.
I have.
Yeah.
Hello, Anne.
Let's looking forward to Froome. Yeah, because you're coming over. That'll be so brilliant. Yeah, congratulations, Garry and Rachel. That's lovely. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Hi, great to see you both. Have special, wonderful special holidays. Congrats, Garry and Rachel. It's lovely. 25 years. Well done. I'm impressed.
She would have got less for murder.
That's what they say, isn't it? You'd have got less.
She would have got less for murder. Somebody said it to me the other day. Well, you would have got less if you'd have murdered her. But I have to say, it's the other way around.
It was much more fun staying together.
It's much more fun staying together. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've got a lot on, and then in November, it doesn't stop there, because in November,
we're back to
Goresworth because we're going to Bexnen's
dissection. Yeah, dissection. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to that.
And that's it then. When we come back, they're not meant to be doing anything until March.
Well, I might have to ask you to look after the animals for another 6 days, because I need to go and see my family before Christmas. But we need to discuss that. So
there you are. You've learned all the interesting things about what we're going to be doing for the next few months, and then we're back down under. I'm letting the Florida workshop breathe a little bit. I've got everything ready. And if you I'll tell you a little secret. If you click on the Florida, if you're down under and you're waiting to book for Australia and New Zealand, if you click on the Florida link or the workshop link that I've put in the Florida advert, you'll actually see that you can book, that the dates are up for Australia and New Zealand. So we're going to Auckland, Christchurch again. So those are the 2 places we went last time. This time we're going to Auckland first, then Christchurch, then we're going to Adelaide, and then we're going to Brisbane. So if you are wanting to book for Down Under, you can actually, because it's already up. And you can book just 50% if you want to pay 50% now, and the rest a few weeks before the actual off. So it's there. I just haven't put it out yet, but you can go and book. So that'd be great. Oh, what does Alison says? Yes, Fab, you'll be back at Bex. So look, oh, great. It'd be great to see you there, Alison. That's lovely. I think there's going to be quite a few of our gang.
I have to say, it's going to be a Hoofing Marvellous reunion at Goresworth.
I think it is.
It really is. I think the lady that put it on, I think we should have had commission.
Definitely.
Absolutely, we should have had commission.
So, what are we going to talk about tonight? I can show you. I'm sure she wouldn't mind, but I'm going to have to go and find the picture first. I can show you what a few months of proper, I say proper, rehab can do to the back of a foot that is contracted. So I'm just gonna show you something, because the lovely lady that I've been working with on and off for the last year and a half or year, she just puts in her, she was at the Toronto workshop, and she just for everybody else in the workshop group. She's called Kathleen, and she's put up some photos for other people to see. So I'm just gonna put it up here for you to see if it loads. It may not load. This was the lady, and I'm sure she won't mind me telling you. Are we there? Are you still? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. All good.
I've gone off. This is a lady, I'm sure she won't mind me telling you, that at the very beginning of her rehab with her 2 horses, she was going through, she'd gone through lots of different methods because it was laminitis, and she tried to control the diet, all of those things, but things were still going wrong because the feet were completely out of balance. And we started working on both of them because both of the horses, a horse and a pony, both needed help. And we started working on them, and they would it might have been well over a year ago this now. In fact, I think it is. And we were doing really, really well. All was going well, and they were getting better. They were starting to get sounder. They were starting to move more. And because of that, Kathleen wanted to get x-rays. And she went out to get x-rays, and the vet who turned up, which wasn't her usual vet, I don't think, anyway, turned up and was so appalled at the toes, basically threatened Kathleen and said, if you don't let my farrier come and trim these horses, you know, the welfare hell will come down on top of you. So what does an owner do in a situation like that? It's so difficult, isn't it? Because the vet rocks up at one moment in the rehab. They're not listening. All they can see is red because they see these toes. They've been told toes are bad, toes are bad, toes are bad, toes are bad for so long that when they see a situation like this, when they're so used to seeing feet that are to them look all nice, neat and tidy, whether they can see lamellae or not, they see this as a welfare issue because they're not cognizant of what's going on. Now, I hope, Garry, that not too long into the future, that it will become so well known and so widespread what we're doing with the rehab that vets will not be, you know, in a situation where they will, you know, where they will cause such a rumpus. But what happened was that she got her farrier out and they chopped the toes off, both horses. So we had these lovely, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
So we had these lovely rehabbing feet with toes that were growing down, and we had quite a bit of it in play as well, which was fantastic. The horses were becoming more and more and more and more comfortable, and they got the farrier in and chopped toes off. Now, you might say, well, there's no way they'd do that in my property, but it's a funny psychological thing when you're faced with people who have a certain amount of power over you, even though they're not going through the journey. They are used to being around owners who don't have very much knowledge. They don't have very much knowledge either, but they're used to being the person who has more knowledge than anybody else in the room. And I'm not being disingenuous saying that. That is a truth. And so when owners are there talking back to the vet and going, no, this is the situation, it's so alien to them, everything, the whole thing. One, the owner just talking about hooves in a cognizant fashion, and two, them being challenged on what they're doing. So anyway, upshot was, because she was frightened that they were going to bring welfare down on her, she ended up letting them do the job and hoping to God that the farrier wouldn't go too hard on in them. But they did. They chopped toes off and dumped the horses onto their soles, at which point they were not well. They were sore, and they had to, she had to boot, and particularly the pony, she had to boot him for quite some time. She contacted me in distress saying, I can't believe, because once they've gone and you reevaluate the situation, you always think how you could have done things better, don't you? You think, I wouldn't do that. Why didn't I stand up for my horses? Why didn't I step up? But it's terrifying sometimes in that situation. And so with a lot of soul searching and a lot of guilt, again, you feel guilty because they get into that state. Then you feel guilty because you're trying to rehab them. It's such a crap merry-go-round. She eventually contacted me and told me what had happened. And of course, all I could do is say, well, hooves grow. Let's hope that the damage isn't too much and we'll move on. We are now over a year since that happened. Toes still haven't grown out, but they're getting there. They're getting there a great deal, but particularly in the last, I'd say, where are we? March, April, May, June, July. So probably in the last 6 months, her knowledge has really gone on even more when it comes to trimming, because we are more able to help owners online now because of the techniques that we have developed that are pretty foolproof, that we can help people sort their own horse's feet out, even if they're thousands of miles away. So I just thought I would share with you a picture of the heels from March this year to August this year. So that's not long. It's what, 5 months? But I thought I'd just show you this. This is really interesting. Look at this foot, and this is the same foot, guys. This is not a different animal or a different foot. This is the same foot. Gary's like, oh, show me. Let's have a look. Share screen. Oop. There you go. This is the same foot. Look at that.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Look at those heels. Now, I wanted to talk about a couple of things relating to this and why this has happened. Firstly, if you look at this side, this is a super contracted back of the foot. And as this foot has contracted, it's become narrower and narrower and narrower. Instead of going out that way, it's sort of come in, which you can see. And that's been throttling, choking the frog. Everything has got solid in the back of the foot, and all around these areas here, what we call the seat of corn, which are these areas here, you can see they're breaking out a little bit here and here. That's where infection's creeping in a little bit underneath these very, very compacted bars. Now, you look at that and you might think that's not compacted. It is, because bars aren't meant to really look like this at all. And you can see as this foot was getting more and more contracted and the heels were getting higher and higher, you can see, can't you, how this was pushing into the frog. Now, remember, this horse had started his rehab and then was put back for months and months and months. And then it began again in, well, we finally started catching up to where we were. And then we are now moving beyond that, because she's now been able to really understand the back of the foot. And you can see how she's this space here between the heels is completely different to that now. And that is just a few months. So that's not just it decontracting, that's getting rid of the compaction. So as you come down, the frog and the heels are coming down, the frog is starting to get engagement. In fact, you have to pare quite a bit of the frog away because it's too big. So as those heels are coming down and the compaction is disappearing, the frog starts to get engaged more. The heels are not allowed to come back up and to compact anymore. And that's your result. And it's even, you're starting to see a change in the shape of the foot at the front as well. So, it is interesting. And look at this. So this area here is pigmented, right? Look at this area here and it's had an infection in it. This area here to the heel. Look at the distance between that. And then this area here, from here to there. Now look at the other side. Look how much further this is from that, because this pigment's still there, and this is from that. It's not a trick of the eye. That's because as you bring the heels properly down, they increases the surface area. So if you look at this foot, the heels would have been back here somewhere, right? But at this stage where she was, and she'd already gone a long, long, long way, up until March. But there's the difference. Isn't that super? Isn't that just a fantastic example of a change? Yeah, it's like a different foot.
Also, it's one of those. It's one of those indicators where you have to question: have I got compaction? Is when the bars, particularly on the March photo, can you see that they're curling into the back of the foot? Where that curling in is a real indicator that there is just too much growth there. And it's those bars, those bloody bars are a pain in the ass when they're not where they're supposed to be.
Absolutely. It's funny.
It's the bars and the heels.
Yeah. I put a post out today. I don't know if you noticed it, on bars. And somebody came on there and was sort of arguing the toss, really, because of her own experience with a couple of her own horses, that she felt that leaving the bars was a better option because Rami had suggested that they were, or she used a phrase, tickling the foot like antennae, and which I've got to tell you, I find a bit strange. But there's that they're obviously giving feedback is what she's saying. Well, the whole foot's giving feedback. It's not just located in one area, such as the bar. But when you've been around the block as long as we have, and you've seen a lot of contracted feet, you can't leave bars in this situation. These bars have to be taken back to where they need to be. And she mentioned something about if you keep cutting them, you'll get an ingrowing toenail, like an ingrowing toenail. It's not the same. It is not the same. They are not stuck on anything. In fact, it's quite the opposite. If you don't trim them back, you get the end of the true bar, which in this scenario, because it's so compacted, that wall has grown up so much, because it's wall, remember, is here and here. You can see on this one, it's back here. You get little cracks and fissures and holes where that compacted bar begins to turn into more compacted material, and that is a weak spot that is so common in horses. And there's this misinformation about bars all the time being something that should be there for grip or breaks. But in actual fact, we take horses with long bars, overgrown bars, abscessing, bar abscesses, the whole 9 yards, and we start improving that horse's back of the foot so it can decontract just like this, because that foot can't decontract in this position that it's in. It doesn't. I don't think people are aware that this foot could have all the movement in the world. It would never end up being like this. The reason this has ended up being like this is because this was addressed correctly. The heel height was addressed correctly. The bars were taken out. If you look at this bar, you can see this hoof wall here, and you can see this here. This is hoof wall. It's just come around and finishing off the heel. Mother Nature needed a way of finishing the foot off at the back. They are there for flexibility, but they can also choke the back of the foot. So these bars had been left, and they were at the same height as the outer hoof wall. And what that does is it causes a prison cell for the sole that is inside here at the seat of corn. It's imprisoned, locked in there, and it can't get out, and it cannot exfoliate itself because these two sides are literally locking it in. Once you start working on bringing the heels back to where they need to be, and you start taking the bars where they need to be, this is the magic that happens. And I hear people a lot say that you have to leave heel in order to build heel for it to decontract. That's just nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. You have to take the heels back to where they should be normally and naturally. Whether that you feel that that's too low or not, it's not your decision to make. It's the horse's decision to make. And then once you've done that, you clear the position, and that, my friends, is the result. It's the same foot. As you can see, it's exactly the same foot. You've got the same pigment markings. So it's the same foot. So I'm going to put this up on the page. And of course, then you'll hear loads of things like chop that wedge off, chop it off. It's not balanced, a whole 101 things. Of course, this is balanced, but what you're seeing here is the lamellar wedge separating and still separate, still stretched. But he's chopped off quite a bit of his wedge himself, which is why it looks. Wondering what these little red marks are. That's Asherism, teaching people about balance, because what she does is she gets people to colour in the heels, and then as they turn the foot away, depending on what they see, which colour goes out first. So the colour that goes first is the higher heel. It enables people to see mediolateral heel-to-heel balance a lot easier. So I thought I'd just show you that. It's fascinating. I'll stop sharing that now. Yes. What's been said here? Alison says, isn't it interesting that the vets get so distracted by the appearance of the toes that they totally fail to see the rest of the horse and that it's moving freely, not engaged in the brain at all? Absolutely, because it's a knee-jerk reaction, isn't it, Gary? It's like total.
Well, while you were chatting and showing those amazing pictures, I decided to go off and just do a quick search on Google. What are the triggers for an animal welfare organization to be brought in? Because a lot of people don't know. And I found two. And they basically I found one for the UK and I found one for Australia. I didn't have time to go through any others, but I'm sure they're all going to be pretty much the same. So the one in Australia was called Five Domains of Animal Welfare, and in the UK they're called What are the 5 Freedoms of Animal Welfare in the UK? And you know what? They're exactly the same. Freedom from hunger and thirst. So, did that lady, I've forgotten the lady's name, sorry. Kathleen, did her horse have freedom from hunger and thirst?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, freedom from discomfort.
Absolutely. The discomfort.
Compared to what it was before, freedom 100%. From 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Freedom from pain, injury, or disease.
Yes, because it was improving.
Another tick in the box.
Yeah. Tick in the box.
Okay. Just checking. We've got 2 left to go. We've got two left to go. So, freedom to express normal behavior. Is that another tick in the box?
Absolutely. They're out on a little track. Just roaming freely.
And was the horse free from fear and distress?
Well, I don't think the owner was, but the horse was. The owner was definitely having fear and distress.
So, if that is the case in Australia and the UK, and I am surmising the rest of the world, why is it then it is only allowed for a vet to bring in a welfare organisation? Why can't an owner bring in a welfare organisation when you have photos, videos, all of those things, and all of that evidence that when the vet and the farrier comes along, chops the toes off and creates discomfort, creates pain, injury, and the horse cannot express normal behavior and is in fear of distress. Oh my goodness. This world has gone absolutely bloody bonkers.
It is.
Because everybody puts the vet
on a pedestal. I know, but like Alison says, it's so hard to stand up to anyone, especially a professional, when you're being criticised. No matter how certain you are that you're in the right. I mean, I don't know if you read a story, Alison probably saw this, with Zara in the students group. Zara has a donkey that she is handling and is getting used to. She's quite feral, and but she's rehabbing little George, and the vets turned up to help out with the donkey, but they saw George's feet and had a conversation with her about the toes. And Zara did a poly, and she picked up the foot and said, here's the sole, here's the wedge, here's the white line, here's the water line, blah blah. Where would you like me to take the foot back to? And the vets just didn't know what to say. And she said, I might make you irate here, but I am not doing that. Just so you know, not taking them back, because I've been down that road before and it doesn't work. So until he doesn't need them, they stay. And they don't know what to do about it. They're just like, oh, computer says no. But the more owners and people that do that are able to, and but of course,
it's far from easy. It's far from easy when you're an owner. It is far from easy.
Wow, that's amazing. Central Circus looks so much better too. Yep, it does. Carrie says, remarkable change in the whole hoof, particularly the heels. Super helpful to see and hear about this. Training my eye, currently trimming my 4 horses. Yeah, these sorts of things are the things you're looking for. You don't ever want the bar to be at the same or a higher level than the wall. And what happens when they fold over? And that's an incredibly painful process. Bar is wall. So when the wall begins to fold into the sole, that's not just taking a bit of something that's a bit flimsy and no, that's taking wall material and folding it that's growing up and too long and then being pushed down into the sole. That's not how it was meant to be. That's not how it was meant to be. And for people who just say because they followed the Ramey idea for far too long, which was I don't know why the bars keep popping up, so maybe they need to be there, kind of romantic kind of view of the bar. It's not how Mother Nature designed it. Well, as we well know, when you've lived around pathology long enough, you see the evidence of the pain that long bars cause. This is exactly, says to Jeanette, what happened with Texan's hooves. I'm still not down to the true seat of corn, but the back of the foot is starting to open up and exfoliate. Wonderful.
Great job.
Fiona says, great example. Hello, Fiona. Great example. Thank you. This is what has happened with my Mini I'm trimming. I think I'm finally getting those heels and bars back where they need to be and can't wait for the progress. Awesome.
Great job.
Yeah. Who speaks horse language? How do they know it would hurt? Ulrika says, saw some horrific feet out today at work. Heels were down, but toes so short. The owner said chronic laminitis. Well, no, chronic toe chopping. I know the HCP. Hope she's open to change. You're going to be the one that helps her do that. I hope. My horse is a sign. I trim. Yeah, right. Hi there, I'm here. Hello, Uta. Hello, my darling. How are you?
Hello, lovely.
Michelle says, my horse will now have long toes until I slowly fix. Of course. That's how you need to do it. Respect biology. That's what we're doing. To hell with what they think physics is doing to the horse's foot. It's not. It's the physics of biology that's important. Gail says, my horses have never been without food or freedom or shelter and water. When I started my Hoofing Marvellous journey, I was advised to put to sleep. I think because it seems to be an easier option. Did anybody see Melanie's post?
Oh, wasn't that brilliant? Wasn't that brilliant? For sure.
I'll go find it. Oh, actually, before I find that, let me show you this one. Let me show you this one. Let's just turn the sound off a minute. This is a great post. Adele won't mind me sharing this. It's of one of her clients. Share screen. Okay. Look at this. Did you see this?
No, I didn't. So
this is, I won't say the horse's name because she doesn't talk about the horse's name here, and it's a name you would recognize if you knew this horse. But at the moment, this horse is in rehab. You can see that the horse is in boots. But let me just read what Adele puts here. And this is for Bethan. She says, for Beth and Thornycroft, 12 weeks ago, this six-year-old beauty was due to be put to sleep. For those who don't know, Adele is one of our HMB pros, very experienced pro. She's up near Sheffield. The owner reached for Facebook to scramble for help. She found it at Galsworth Track Livery. P3 penetration in both front feet. I have the pictures. She laid down for days, taking the heels from 6.5 centimeters to 2.5 centimeters. She gradually eased out of pain, and here she is, seeing the world again of her own free will. There are many of us warriors out there every day doing our work on the back of the amazing work that Hoofing, Marvellous and Galsworth do. Yes, it's physically and mentally demanding, but it's harder to keep yourself sane with the bile that comes with being pioneers. Keep at it, team. We are winning. Look at this. She's up on her feet, and she's
Couldn't put it better myself.
She's learning to walk again. Isn't that fantastic? And I've seen the pictures. This mare's feet were shocking. So she's up and about. I mean, it just fills my heart so much. Right, I'll just stop sharing for a moment, and I'll go and find Melanie's post. That was such a lovely post, and I spotted that earlier on. And of course, Bethan will be coming back. She's enjoying. Bethan said to me, by the way, just to let you all know, she's rather enjoying the piece. She's enjoying not having all the messages turning up in her mailbox. She's just.
I think what needs to happen is, because she was in Cornwall having a holiday, and she couldn't really have a Facebook holiday. So all she's doing is having her Facebook holiday when it should have been while she was on holiday. That's what's happening. Yeah. Enjoy the break, lovely. Take 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
But no longer. No longer.
Foxy says, thank you for this example. It's a real eye-opener. You're very welcome. Ulrika says, I'm going to get a bunch of new friends. You are very
You
soon.
are, for sure.
Connie says, hi, Connie. Connie, Garry, is the lady who gave you the present.
Thank you so much. The key ring is on my keys, and if the sun was out, I'd show you my horsey wind chime is right outside my office window. It's up. Thank you so much.
I'm finally getting the bars down on my old boy. Last 2 trim, finally no more bruising. Yes, fantastic.
Excellent job.
Yeah, honey's feet. I'll bring that up in a minute. Alison says, brilliant work, Adele. Michelle says, love it. Absolutely. And this is not, we're not trying to go, nah. We're going, she's coming back from the brink, not because she had laminitis, because she had balansitis, because she was suffering from a inappropriate, imbalanced, chronic imbalanced hoof care. Hoof divergence syndrome is our new name for it, which is and the mechanism for that is I'm calling the HM divergence principle, which I am mapping out, which will go in my book. But the important thing here is, again, this was nothing to do with the diet. It never is. These horses' hooves are suffering, and they are tearing themselves apart because of the hoof care. So let's go and have a look. Let's see if I can find Honey, Melanie's, because that was such a fab post. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, here she is. Let's have a look at this. This is a brilliant post. She put this up yesterday, and it's so sweet and just so lovely. Okay, share. And I'm going to put a bit more of the story up on HM at some point, because we've got all the x-rays. I have some good news. New x-rays for Honey are done. I've been waiting for 2 days to show our progress, and the words I want to use just don't seem fitting. Grateful. Some of you may know Honey's story, but for those of you who may be new, let me tell you the shortened version. Hi, I'm Melanie, and this is my whole world Honey, aka Honeybucks. And we've met Honey now, haven't we, Garry, in person?
We have, yes. She's a lovely
here,
mare.
yeah, I've posted here, lovely chocolatey colour. I've posted here lots of times in more detail if you're curious. You could go and look up Melanie and you'll see the posts. Honey had laminitis for 12 plus years and had 20, which she understands now is, remove that word and put hoof divergence syndrome in there, and had 23-degree rotation in her front right and 13 degrees in her front left. Now, that's a death sentence if ever you knew one. Honey was laying down 90% of the time, so a bit like the horse we've just seen with Adele. And the vet had recommended I put to sleep. Don't we hear it all the time? It's because they're run out of ideas. They don't know how to fix it because they're coming from a metabolic standpoint and the drugs aren't working. All this has happened to all these horses. I found HM. I adopted their practices and will never go back. Today, Honey's feet are completely derotated. I'm going to show you that in a moment. She is on track with her friends and thriving. She zooms around the track, munching hay, asking for belly scratches, all in the company of her friends. My new vet, if she didn't know the horse's history, she wouldn't be able to tell. This is what the new vet said. She wouldn't be able to tell that she'd ever had laminitis. Now, when we look at these, we can, but there you are. And of course, it's not laminitis. It is hoof divergence syndrome, let alone chronic. Except for the little ski tip, everything looks completely normal. I found this group and a better way. Honey is now better and stronger than ever, all thanks to Lindsay, Garry and Asher, the HM team and this group. You want to talk about passionate, caring and determined equine enthusiasts? You won't find better people. Thank you, everyone. So lovely. And here are the new x-rays. Okay, so let's have a look at them. Let's see if we can put them together. So this is the right. So this is the worst one. This was the worst foot. This was really bad. She's still got a bit of toe to come down here. She chopped this off not long ago. She's getting a decent amount of depth. The palmar angle is still a little bit high, but this back of the foot is still very contracted. Now, to many people, they may look at that and go, that's broken back, but it's not. What's happening is that she's just not standing as they've taken the x-rays that one moment in time. She's just not standing in that right position. But look, the thing that you want to look at is this. This is the bit that Pollock could never explain. They don't know how a foot that has been torn by metabolism, and I have to tell you, this mare was eating, you know, she'd been trying to fix the diet for a long time, but it wasn't fixing the problem. We've still got a little bit growing out here, and we've got a little bit of a ski tip, and this that looks sort of more grayish is because there's more density here, because there has been a huge lamella wedge, which is still not there yet, still growing out. But that was her worst foot. And then we can look at the other foot. That's her left. Look at the similarity between the two. Slightly better heel going on there. Good depth. Again, better toe, slightly better toe. But look at this growing in. Isn't that super? And of course, we've got a ski tip. So Honey has lost a portion of her P3. It should have been here. She was lucky she didn't lose more for the amount of years that she was suffering. And I think the important thing to note here, let's just go down and have a look at, there they are. Look at that lovely picture. Oh, got her heart horse back. I love that. The important thing to note here, and this is her walking. There she goes. And that's quite rough ground, you can see there. Look at her ears. Look how she's walking. Look at her ears. She's like, yes, I feel very happy. Thank you very much. Let me just stop sharing that. I think the important thing here is to realize that that rotation that she mentioned in the post wasn't fixed at that. It changed up and down, up and over those 12 years. Sometimes it got worse, sometimes it got better, because the hoof care just kept changing. the hoof care just kept changing. And the point of what we're teaching you is consistency. It mustn't change. You have to keep it as consistent as possible, because that's what Mother Nature does. That's what she does. She keeps it consistent because these animals are moving all the time. Carrie says it will be owners who change things. Oh, 100%. I've just come to Phoenix Way the last month. A trainer I really respect posted about it, and I investigated, and it all made sense. I was a toe chopper. There you go. Not anymore. I've trimmed my own horses for 30 years. Started when Dr. Strasser was popular. Well done, Carrie. I take my hat off to you. This trim makes so much sense. Good. I'm glad, because this is about biology. The world, because it was very fixed in a male-orientated world, and a very male-orientated thing is to fix things they see physically from the outside. This is about fixing the foot from the inside, bringing balance back so that the foot can no longer be in torque and tension and tearing. Everybody thought lever forces were the tearing bits at the toe. In fact, taking the toe off makes it doubly worse, that you don't realize, because it's not ground force that you need to be bothered about. It's the biological forces within the foot that cause the immense amount of strain, and they fight against each other only because the foot is being imbalanced. So I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're with us. Fiona says, Carrie, welcome. This is how many of us started here, myself included. Once you know better, you do better. That's from one of our pro students. Ulrike said, if it had been systemic inflammation for 12 years, the horse would be dead. The vet should know. Oh, it's yeah, it's crazy. But you wait till my book's out. That's going to shake them up. But we're not, Garry, it's true though, isn't it? We're not trying to get to the pros.
No. What we want is, we want to empower anyone. But I have to say, it's going to be more likely horse owners. So you are in a much better position to be able to advocate for your horses and have adult conversations with these professionals. A bit like Lindsay was saying about Zara, when these people came round to look at this pony, and they saw the state of the feet. And this pony hasn't been with her, it's less than 2 weeks, and is wild. So
that's George. George is the one that they saw with the long toes, and that's the one that's rehabbing.
Ah, right, okay, I got the wrong one.
He's the one that's only been with her for a very short period of time. They saw George's feet. Who is?
Oh, I see.
Remember when she first got him, and she put the pictures up, and he was like, and then she put the next pictures up a bit later. He's like, yes, and now he's storming along.
It's to be able to have that conversation, like doing a poly, and we've talked about that not recently, but back in other lives, when you just scratch the surface of that little bit of knowledge. And equally, and I say this quite often, for an animal to be effectively destroyed, there have to be certain markers. A vet cannot, if there is suitable and sufficient breath rate. Heart rate is not elevated. There is no infection. If those things, those are basic life signs, vital signs, if those 3 vital signs are all normal, and you're not even on pain relief, well, even if you are on pain relief, you're doing it. If you need the pain relief, then you're doing that thing. And then those 5 freedoms that I just talked about, if you go back as an adult without quite the emotion, even though it's an emotional situation, well, I can tell you that my horse's temperature is in the range of normal, the heart rate is in the range of normal, the breath rate is in the range of normal, and it's out with its friends, it's not mentally disturbed, and I got 5. What legal recourse have they got apart from I am the leading authority, self-proposed?
But what they fall back on is the power that they have. They fall back on the fact that they are used to being the most knowledgeable person in the room, and then when somebody turns around to them and says no, they're falling back on their own experiences of what they've seen as an equine vet and all the neat feet, even though they've seen a horrible smorgasbord of lameness. They're not looking now at this at this pony or horse that's doing much better. They're looking at the aesthetics because they have been told that toe equals lever forces, even though, and this is remarkable, even though there are no peer-reviewed papers which can significantly prove that at all. And all you have to do is watch a horse walk in slow motion to see that at that point of breakover, and we're looking at the front legs, because it's the front legs they're more bothered about than anything else, the knee is bent. So and there are no going through that toe. Well, I say no forces. The ground force going to that toe is minuscule because the weight's off the leg. They've unloaded. It's actually hyperextension, which is the bigger issue, but nobody ever talks about that. That's when both front feet are on the ground at the same time, because that's when the horse is going, right, I'm shifting weight over now. I'm shifting weight over to this side so that I can lift this foot up. But even that, there's no issues with that whatsoever, because the horse is only bothered about one small area of the foot, which is the bit underneath the coronary band. That's it. That box underneath the coronary band is the bit that is important to them. Everything forward of that doesn't matter to them. It doesn't matter to them in terms of their, I've got to be careful of the words I choose here, because it matters to biology, but it doesn't matter to their gait. Now, you're not going to ride these horses and go and do an endurance ride, because that would be bad, because these horses have compromised feet, right? But they are only interested in this bit, because this bit is the loading bit, the landing bit, the loading and landing bit. And then the little bit at the toe just means that they just lift their leg a little bit higher. And that's no great massive thing for a horse. They don't care. As long as there ain't no pain. When the foot goes down, they can land, they can load. That's all they care about, not the rest of it. But Garry, what I suspect is going to happen, this is my premonition of how this is going to pan out over the next few years. As owners, more and more owners come forward and realize that hoof divergence syndrome is the old laminitis that didn't ever exist, that they were duped into thinking that it was, that more and more owners are going to rehab their horses this way. Now, I suspect what's going to happen is the world is going to start cottoning on quite fairly quickly that heels have become an issue, that heels are getting too high and that horses need them lower, but they won't get them low enough because people are too afraid of that, because they don't trust Mother Nature. And I suspect what will happen, because I've already started to see it happen, is people will say, but you can rehab horses by not leaving those long toes. And leaving those long toes is compromising them. It isn't. It isn't. It doesn't compromise their tendons, soft tissues, nothing. Because remember, it's the bit that's on the ground that's important to them in terms of their comfort. I suspect they will say, but we can do it without those ugly long toes. But the problem there is they're not moving away from the toe chopping. And the second you do, you go, oh no, you give toe chopping a way in again, then the problem will just keep going round and round in circles, because that's part of the problem. Is the shortening of that toe. That's it's a whole hoof capsule problem, It's not the hoof capsule as one rotating. This is what when they realized the suspensory apparatus of the distal phalanx was and that there were holes in it, they then went, oh, well, it must be capsular rotation. It's not that either. It is and it isn't, but it isn't. They think that it's the whole capsule rotating. It's two planes against each other that we have pitted against each other, the hoof wall and the sole. It's just the sole has, and I don't like the word false sole. It's compacted and therefore not true hard sole plane. But it's all going to be in the book. I'll talk about it all in the book. Fiona said, no, not Fiona, Foxy said, when is your book coming? Well, I'm not allowed to write any of it now because now I've come back and I've got off the planes, etc.
Too busy. Lots to catch up on.
Garry and Tim, I'm not allowed.
Not allowed yet.
Tim,
you started it though. You started it, which is great.
I've written part 1. There are about 6 to 7 parts. Can't make my mind up. And I've written part 1. I mean, obviously it's a draft, but I've written part 1. Yeah, I hope you'll all buy it. And what we'll do in the future, I've got this idea, Garry, that we'll take copies to workshops. You know, they'll get a copy when they sign up for a workshop if they haven't already got it, and then we'll sell copies online. And as Tim is a radio producer, or was. That was his thing. He's going to produce me doing the audio book because he's done a couple of those, so that'll be fun. I've got it all mapped out. All you've got to do, Garry and Tim, is let me write it.
Yes, but there are other priorities right now.
I know. But it's my next shiny thing.
It is, and it's very exciting.
Dawn says, can't wait for the book. Can I order a signed copy of one now, please? See? Oh, he's giving me a dirty look. Oh, come and show the world your dirty look. No. He's just walked in. Look, I'm going to turn you around. Look. Look, he's look at him. He said it was my next shiny thing, and I'm not allowed like a magpie. I'm not allowed to go near it at the moment.
Ulrika says you're going to have to get it translated into all languages.
Well, I won't be able to do that, but I'm steaming up. But yeah, we will do that. Tim says I keep freezing. That's your internet, darling. It's not mine.
It's been okay. It's been okay. There's been a few bits where but it's been fine. Everybody's got the gist. Everybody's got the gist.
Alison says, but they are so used to seeing pathology, their eyes, brain are numbed, so cannot see what's become normal to them as pathological. Precisely that. And Bracey Clark said that. When your eyes get used to, I'm paraphrasing, but when your eyes get used to distortion, you don't see it as, you see it as being normal. It normalizes it, doesn't it? I don't think they know what normal is. I'm sure of it.
Okay, I'm gonna put something out there now, and I'm probably gonna get told off by Timmy.
He's listening.
Is he? Is he listening?
No, because I've got my headphones on. He can't hear me. He doesn't.
Oh, good. He can't hear me.
You can call him names and everything.
Because I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to be taking on any more work either. But I have this really, really nice idea, and I've been putting it on hold for about 6 months. And I'm putting it out there to the world because I know this goes out on YouTube, and I know lots of people in the Phoenix page have had help from us. This coming December, the Phoenix page would have been running for 2 years only. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I did that. I didn't do that on purpose. At that point, I'm thinking that between now and then, I would like to do some interviews with people that have had significant successes by following the Phoenix Way and Hoofing Marvellous.
Well, that's a nice idea.
So that would be it's pre-recorded, so or live. I'm not 100% sure yet. Whether it be in the Phoenix page only or maybe even publicly, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we give that choice to the person, I think would be a nice thing to do, and share the videos, the photos, the x-rays, and a bit like Asher's amazing Fabulous Feet Friday, we have one a week where we go out and we show the world the success, because we show a lot of the rehabs, but what we want is the full-on success cases where people have just had their mind blown, and it may even be that their horse was so crippled but now are so sound, and the transition hasn't been completed just yet. So because and I have to say, it was probably the shit that happened last week with Bethan and everybody being tired and just people on Facebook and social media being absolutely grotty. I thought, do you know what? Why don't we show them what's really happening out there? Because a lot of them are stuck within our own family group of the Phoenix Way. And how about we just show the world what we've been doing? So we've got a few months to get it organized. If you're interested, drop me a message.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. And we could dedicate, if we get back to doing 2 lives a week, we can dedicate one of those lives maybe to an interview with the owner. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
It would. And it doesn't have to be just, it can be, well, we've got lots of people now, haven't we? It could be people that joined us back in the magazine days. It could be people that we've helped through Barefoot Live.
Yeah.
It could be people that we've helped personally when we were both working in the UK. It can be, it's throughout the whole time that Hoofing Marvellous has been helping people. Let's get out there and show what we do.
Great.
Positivity.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Okay. Everybody's saying that's a fab idea, Garry. Great idea.
Now I've got to find some time to do it.
That's all right. I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult as long as we've got as many photos and stuff as we want. We just bring them on and just do an interview. That's all we need to do. Be great.
Fantastic. Be great.
I love it.
Are you on Timmy Link or Live?
I don't know what I'm on. Lydia says, besides the book, we all need to post the 5 freedoms on our barn wall too.
That's a good idea.
And then when when the vets come and say this is welfare, you go, read that.
And stick the vital signs underneath it. 5 freedoms plus vital signs. Is this a welfare issue? Maybe
we'll print that up.
We could do that as a post. Is this a welfare concern? I can see a poster coming up. Printable.
I can. Absolutely. Oh, Foxy says, I'm doing a side course of equine welfare and ethics. Well, there you go. You'll know all about it then. Good night, guys. Thanks for a great live. You're very welcome. All right. We'll see you again soon. Take care, my lovelies. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.